Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is Tuesday night, I can imagine the 13th, March 2018. And kind of a little strange subject, but we're going to talk about kind of some about what we're about. We go over it all the time, but it seems like people like to read into what you're doing their own picture of things. As I said, last night there was a Russian TV crew here, and they may be back Friday, to video the khutbah and also to ask some questions. But a lot of interviews, like last night, people have a preconceived idea of what you're about. Or maybe we might have whooped the system so bad that they wanted to get us to say something so-called, like Sean Hannity said, I know you're going to say something very, like critical, unique, and like they did Sami Al-Arian. He said a few words, next thing he got a case. Fox News was the one that gave him the case. But I want to go over one of our old flyers, Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. First of all, the guys didn't even believe that we had an organization with a billboard with that name. And this has design destiny, design future, design process, goal transformation, the proper method of goal attainment. That is the proper method of reaching goals. And this kind of gives an idea. This was October 30, 2011 in Oakland. The global consciousness awakening has arrived. It will be televised. All of humanity is waking up at the same time with a global vision of a new world full of unlimited possibilities. People across the globe are calling for a new deal for the earth and all of its living organisms, human, animal, plant, and beyond. We must visualize that world and start to connect and organize with those who can also see it, and more importantly, those who are willing to work for it. And now this is what we had on our outline. Together, we must develop a plan of action and work with missionary zeal to bring about and play a role in the Earth Liberation Movement, which aims to free the Earth from the parasitical behavior of man, establish a non-predatory system of interconnected global harmony, nurture and further a culture of earth-first custodianship, that's khilafah. Understand and respect the rights of the earth, which should be treated as a living organism, which it is, and envision and actualize a global redesign for the 21st century. Global redesign for the 21st century. In order to make a new world, we need a new, improved human being to do it. The only question is, what role will Islam and Muslims play in this? From Wall Street, New York, to Mumbai, India, the world is waiting for us. So we have a broad picture of where we're going. This is an evolutionary goal, because when we started in Oakland, our goal was, number one, to establish a place for the worship of Allah, and to have a place for congregation, and also to develop as many and broad institutions as we can to help serve the interests of the Masjid, the family, and all of those things. As we evolved, our goals evolved also. Because in those days, our goal was to establish 25 or 50 centers around the country, and that would be our influence in the movement. But as you see, our goals have evolved. Because of global contact, then our mission is global. In those days, if you fix your little local area, then the earth would be fixed. Now you have to fix the whole earth. And as you can see, we don't want people to do what we want them to do. We want people to figure out what they want to do that's good for themselves, good for all living organisms on earth. A balanced approach to life, a good, healthy approach to life. We call it custodianship. That's khilafah. Now, Christians are also many books on stewardship and custodianship, because remember, the way the Bible would put it is, God gave man dominion over the fowl of the air, the fish of the sea, and everything that creep and crawleth on the planet. Dominion. That's different than stewardship and custodianship. And the word we use, Allah made the human being, is the khilafah, the caliphate, to help administer the earth and according to Allah's laws. The Christian view in the Bible is to dominate the earth, and that's what they do. We're going to rape the earth. We're going to take everything out of it and use it out. That's what they do. They don't go and say, well, we're going to take so much out of it and put so much back. They don't do that. But think about all that you've read and heard about natural peoples around the world. When they took something out of the earth, they put something back, some ritual or something. You can say they didn't know what they was doing, but everybody did it. They know that if you take something out, you have to put something back. That's why Indians in America always planted put a fish, when they planted corn, they put a fish in the hole as a sacrifice. Okay, you could say it was just a sacrifice, the earth and everything, but it's fertilizer too. It is ecological, it is smart. You know what I mean? It is smart. Okay, they don't do that now. Okay, so global redesign for the 21st century. We want to talk a little bit about what we've been dealing with a lot. We don't want to talk too much about our allies in Canada, South Africa, and all of those places, and street prayers and all of those. But what we will say is that what we've came in contact with here and in Oakland and around the world, nobody cares about it except us. Nobody cares about it but us. You know, I mean, that's normal, but that's the way that is. When the Masjid was raided many times in Oakland, CARE's job is to voice for civil rights in America. Can you imagine? Well, you don't have to imagine, we was all down there several times. They wouldn't even open the door and wouldn't answer the phone. And we've had guns pointed at us. then, and 2 times since just the last, and we would always call them. You know, it's not harassing calls, but hey, yeah, we are human beings, and you know, we're Muslims too, and we actually have some rights. Nobody has a right to come to the masjid, and, you know, what has your name on all the paperwork and the founding father and all of that. They can't do that technically, but they're doing it.
Yeah, the issues that Care likes to deal with, like hijab and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Hijab there's no comparison to with hijab
Right.
and people coming to a masjid with guns drawn on the Imam, taking over. I mean, there's no way in the world, if you were a civil rights organization for real, that you wouldn't deal with that.
Well, if it was somebody else and they spray painted the masjid, an F or a Z or something, that would be, you see that all the time. They raise money, they have everybody, certain people go out there and take their picture, or somebody cut down the hedges or something. Yes.
Or if they vandalize.
Oh,
If they vandalize a masjid, and Lord knows our masjid has been vandalized and everything else, and it's like we don't even exist.
Well, see, our point is all of that was for a reason. See, as our goals evolve, we come to now, or not now, you could tell even years ago, it was clear. We have a story to tell, but it's not developed enough. We've had COINTEL program in America, and it always gets told after everybody's dead and after everybody's in prison. That's the way it goes. When they had the church committee in '75 and they brought out the COINTEL program and all that, this hard work, that's post-rebellion. That's post-revolution. Okay, what we're doing is in real time. You can plug in the movement and you can plug in us, and guess what they did? They helped produce a live hero, a live body that lives that stuff right in front of everybody, reports, explains, and clarifies the issues during the time it's happening. That has never happened. So our goals evolve that, okay, we're going to have to teach this stuff to people in real time, where it's not a historical. Now, if it's historical, remember every program we went to, Congress ladies and everybody will talk about the COINTEL program if it's in the past. The government will talk about, in fact, that was an article in '79 in Newsweek, how the government always confesses past sins.
Yeah, when it no longer counts.
Yes, it's funny. They'll tell you right now, hey man, it looks a little funny about what happened to Kennedy, maybe the military, you know. But when it's important, 50 years later, all those old people's long dead. Only the kids, we was kids in those days, 18, 19 years old, right? It was, we remember it, but don't, everybody else is gone. Okay, this is very unique. This is a special event that we are bringing these issues to the forefront in the time that they're acting upon. And we're bringing them together in a clear and concise way. And we are making an example and showing people, yeah, in real live time, you can do this. That's very special. Because remember, the system always knocks people out, and it always raises its friends up. Anything its friends want to do, they can do it. Like Saudi Arabia can bomb Yemen. Well, remember in the old days, in the old triangle of terror, we had South Africa, Israel, and America. At that time, we used to talk about Israel and South Africa having atomic bombs, which they did. Israel still has theirs. But they decommissioned, when black people took over in South Africa, the first thing they did, right, was decommission the atomic energy program.
Denuclearized.
Right away.
Yeah.
What they mean is, no niggas can have it, no such and such can have it. And China just took theirs in 64, India followed right behind in 74, and Pakistan said, we'll eat grass in order to have one. If India got one, we're gonna eat grass till we get ours. Okay? The point is, they feel, when I say they, I mean the systems feels very free to design our life for us. It feels fine. And now, Don, gonna have a meeting with Kim Jong-un to get rid of his weapons. And he looking at, your homeboys don't get none of their weapons, plus we was at war with y'all. What about Libya? What about that? What are you talking about? They don't understand that. So our point is, we're an evolutionary organization. Then the other thing is, what about us as human beings and as Muslims? And what's wrong with being right all the time? I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, is it something actually really wrong? When you talk, see, the thing about our issues, we bring them out ahead of time. That means for everybody else, they're taking a chance. That's taking all a chance to go out and say those things before they happen. Suppose you're wrong. Well, we're making an analysis and a projection for the future. Suppose we was right half of the time. As an American, we would be the greatest scholar in the world if you could predict half of the things that's going to happen, right? You'd be a great scholar. Because I think the greatest predictors are about 30%, according to their scale.
They're Noam Chomsky's.
Yeah. Okay, a lot of people, I don't want to get on Noam Chomsky, but Noam Chomsky's been out 50 years or so, almost 50 years. Right. Okay. If he said isn't all the people are ready to follow, it's like they had WEAC radio over there, and I came back from Iran. So they asked me about, what's the guy's name? We know him real good. The one who was working on the Iraqi thing the race, the Europeans we used to work with a lot.
Oh,
Care?
no.
I mean,
Not Care.
Answer.
Answer, yeah, Answer.
Brown Becker.
Right back. So now I brought back stuff from Iran and I was running it. Boy, look at here, it was on time. So then the guy asked me, Negro, says, he played something that Brian Becker had said. I said, yeah, that's fine. It's like CBS, ABC. But why would you be running over there when you got the Negro? This is the horse's mouth. See this? Tehran Times. 3 days ago, I just got back. I said, why would we run to somebody that's going to give us a CBS or ABC presentation when you got in your own people? Say, you talk about the horse's mouth, this is the horse and this is the mouth right here. So, but let's be correct about all of this. Like the whole Muslim circuit is lined up, so's the whole news circuit and all of the experts, right? They're the experts.
Feel cool in here.
So they're the ones, that's their people. I don't care, just imagine, just think about some of the forecast, dates, times, possibilities.
Feel kind of cool.
Yeah, it's been getting cool since we was praying. Okay, so what's wrong with being right? That's what I always say. You know, last night I was telling the Russian reporters about guns, about opiates, about crystal meth. And I talked about capitalism because they form a community they should understand. I said, when capitalism has no use for people, they have to get rid of them or crush them up into nothing and squeeze the last out of them. How do you mean? I said, you probably never heard of farm relief and farm, you know, the 1980s when all the white people in the Midwest was losing their farms. You know, Willie Nelson and them was all doing farm aid programs to help white people save their farms. The family farm was becoming extinct. At the same time, I was traveling around the country and I'd go through them same places, Iowa and all of that. And I said, man, these people is getting cranked up. Crystal meth. I said, they ain't gonna be the middle America alone. You can't. Crank, man, is deadly on the community. Crystal meth. So that was the 80s, crystal meth and all those little things that and in the cities they was having raves and all the little pills they was taking. Because they didn't have no use for them anymore. I said, that's what opiates are now. And old Don yesterday, day before yesterday said, they got the death penalty. Did y'all see that? For drugs. Well, the white lady and the white man right there in the DEA just quit because they showed and trying to file cases on the big drug companies. It ain't no Negroes selling all the opiates. Maybe after they done hooked them and they can't get no more